because we have a hard time getting information out, especially like Chen Ping. I really have to give a few bullets here. Chen Ping refused to distribute this book. 就Chen Ping是对不对？台湾主要的分发英文的书 ，Yeah, number one bookstore。他说这个不赚钱，对不对？可是他同时就在卖那个给蒋经国捧场的一本书，对不对？给蒋经国一本，还有那个蒋介石一本，就是蒋经国 Foundation 基金会出钱给人出书，对不对？这个算重力的吗？那成品可以去卖。可是这个是台湾历史的书，还有很多文件啊，是国家档案局的秘密文件，我后来才拿出来啊，做出一本有历史内容的。So, that's just for the introduction, okay? Now I'm at Taipei Medical University, and we always have this problem when we face the younger generation. How can we let them understand what happened in Taiwan in the past? Okay, this is not just a problem in Taiwan, it's a problem throughout the world. It's even a problem in Cambodia. Okay, the New York Times has written quite a few articles about the trials of the Khmer Rouge going on in Cambodia this last 2 years. And Cambodia had tremendous killings, right? You know, like 1 million or 2 billion people killed in 1970s and through 75. But the young people, even in Cambodia, hardly know what happened. This huge killing fields, right? And they hardly care. Because somehow their minds are all taken over with, you know, the internet, with computers, with the modern age, you know, as soon as the economy gets a little better. Well, we have the same, of course, the same problem in Taiwan. The young people think, well, this is all ancient history. Even if it's 20 years ago or whatever, it's ancient history. But I think you feel, and I think Frank is such an example, I've known Frank for about 10 years, that if you don't have something you can identify with in your environment, you feel like you're floating. You know, if you don't have a history, you don't know where you're going. This is what many historians say. You know, if you don't have your roots someplace, you can't know what you want to do, at least as a society, you know, as a direction. And we have to say, you know, there's more than making money. I think Taiwan is pretty well assured now of a comfortable life. We all have plenty to eat, if not too much. But at this point then, especially for the young people, what can we say is present as a social ideal? Okay, now when I listen to the Rotary song, okay, it's a very simple song, right? You know, this R-O-T-A-R-Y, that means Rotary. But the content is that people have a responsibility for their community. They have a responsibility for their society. And I think there's a lot of psychological studies that we get meaning in life for what we do for our society, what we do for other people. Okay, and to me this has been very important. You know, it's kind of, people ask, why do I stay in Taiwan? Well, you know, to me it's my meaning in life. I feel I was able, in a particular time, in the 1970s through 1980, I was able to make a difference just through my own effort. You know, without money, without an organization, just by standing up, just by spreading real information, human rights information, by spreading the truth, it had an impact. And I think, you know, this is something we need to take to the younger people, this kind of ideal, that the meaning of our lives are what we do for our society as a group. So, okay, I'm getting a little impassioned about this, you know, because actually I still feel I have to defend this position. You know, we're living in such a technological society, everybody says, economic competitiveness. You know, let's fight for the future, but the future is always individuals making money. And we want to say there's a different image of what we want to create, especially since we already have more than a middle-class society. Okay, well, get to my content. So my point has been, after I went to Taipei Medical University, and I found that the hills right in back of Medical University, this is 2 years ago, I walked up the hills and I found the white terror graves of the 1950s, of 1949 through 52. I heard about them before, but I hadn't seen them. And then, so over a period of 2 years, I went there more and more. It's the public graves from 1945 on, and it's really the graves of the mainlanders. Okay, so I think you all know that this was a big military area around where the World Trade Center was originally all military camps. So these early refugees were buried there. But this brings us a lot of information, and I'll show you. Okay, so in this small area, which is within about 4 kilometers of my university, I can walk out of my office and start a tour, a 2-hour tour, and through this tour I can take you all the way from Qing Dynasty to Japanese period to the period of
KMT.
Yes, the period of the KMT, and even to some, we don't see 228 so directly, but we know that there are people from 228 who were thrown in the hills here. And we can go through the White Terror period, and then through to even the more modern period in which Taiwanese have money, and mainlanders have money, you know, a new period. But especially this early period, it's very difficult to find some signs that show us this early period, because you know the new society wants to hide it. If you want to look at Maingzhou being president, actually Maingzhou has been very happy to wipe out a lot of historical material. Why? Because the current government does not want to recognize. They don't really want to recognize what happened in 1947, what happened in 1949. Okay, now I talked a lot. Sorry, I talked a lot, but let me start with this historical review. So this is how I explain it, looking at graves. Now, I'm an anthropologist. So if you know, it's not a surprise that a foreigner would do this and not a Taiwanese, okay? Because Taiwanese are afraid of graves, right?
They're so shy for Taiwanese.
For what?
Shy for.
They're shy, yes. They're superstitions. People say if you're a Christian, don't worry, the ghosts won't stick to you. If you're a foreigner, don't worry, the ghosts won't stick to you. Okay? So maybe it's not a surprise that foreigners would do this. Especially anthropologists will do this. All over the world, anthropologists love to look at graves. We see history through graves. Okay, so that's why I say living history in the graveyards of Liuzhangli. So can we turn off these lights here? Let's just turn off some of the lights in front and just a little darker so you can see it better. And I would be very happy if some of you move your chairs up a little to the front, especially the students, because I think you can't see quite clearly. Okay, let me see, next. Okay, here we go. Okay, so one thing I learned as I started to look at graves, I didn't really understand graves that much. But in my book, which is bilingual, I'm preparing a book, and maybe it will be published later. But right now I just have it on CD form. So we've printed about 100 copies, but just by color Xerox. And it's being used as teaching material. So, okay, this is a standard kind of Taiwanese grave, and you can read the year with this 60-year cycle. It's not actually easy to read the year. Okay, but we know that graves are extremely important for looking at your roots. And if you look at people from Ireland, they do the same thing. Okay, if we look at graves in the United States, Ireland 150 years ago, they say, I came from County Cork. What county did I come from in Ireland? What year did I come? And so Chinese graves are similar. You see where they came from. You see the name of the person. You see the year, at least, that the grave was built. Sometimes their birth and death. And then you see who built the grave. And a grave, in many ways, is a claim to land. That is, usually, in the old days, people would honor people that they had inherited land from. Okay, 农民社会就是最重要。你哪一个祖先给你土地，或是说你被领养的，谁给你土地，那就是最重要的，就是让你生活。所以我的骨灰放在这块土地，然后我传给我的下一代，他也是从这块土地就吃饭。Right? We know this very important concept for Chinese and for Taiwanese. Right. Okay, now this area around Liuzhangli, however, was originally tea. 就是本来是除了那个种茶的那几个家族之外，那边没有坟墓，那个本来是种茶的。Okay, it was tea land. But when the Kuomintang came to the Xinyi area, they took over the land and they declared this area was public graves. So very interesting. There is the grave of General Bai Congxi. up on the hill there. Okay, you know, I'll tell you later who Baitung is. Yeah, and it's all in. Okay, this grave is in the style is 回教。OK， 它就是后面有个清真寺，就是回教的
哦，他是信回教的哦。
他是回教。
回教徒。
对，而且这边的回教徒的坟墓大概有3000个。